Okay, here's the mid chapter 7 quiz review. First problem, you have to graph on a piece of graph paper. You graph the equation using slope and y-intercept. Okay, so number 1, y equals negative 3x plus 6. Okay, so make a wall on the side of the y because you need the y by itself, and then you go MB. So that means this is going to be fairly straightforward on this one. So slope's negative 3, the y-intercept 6. So on the y-axis I plot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Then my slope, I need the slope to be a fraction, so I put a 1 under it. Okay, it can't be just a whole number, it needs to be a fraction. So I'd be forward 1, but down 3 as I'm doing that. So 1, 2, so forward 1, down 3. Forward 1, down 3. Or you could go down 3 first and forward 1, but either way the line ends up that way. Okay. Okay, number 2. A little more complicated this time. 3x minus 5y equals negative 15. Now it's not quite as smooth as here because when I make the wall, there's more than just y on that side. We have to get the y by itself. So I dot it and circle it, make it plus negative. That can't be a negative, so you make it positive, and then the 3 goes negative, and the negative 15 now turns to positive. Okay, that's first thing. You got to have the positive multiplying number with the y. Okay, then you're going to add 3x, get it out of there. But you need an x over here, so you go 0x and then plus 3x. Now you line up your equals. You still have 5 times y on that side. Now you got to do your x first. 0 plus 3 is 3. Okay, and then plus 15. Then you divide everything in the problem by 5. And now y is all by itself, and that's good. So 3 divided by 5 is a decimal, so you keep it as a fraction. 3/5 x, 15 divided by 5 is 3. So you have your m and b now, finally. Okay? It's a process of doing that. Okay, so slope, y-int. So the slope is 3/5, and the y-intercept is plus 3. Okay. So y, 1, 2, 3. So I go forward 5, up 3. And you really can't do it a second time because you don't have enough room, but that's fine. I can just get by with 2 points. Okay, then the next ones, okay, are where you have the line and you have to get the equation, okay? So number 3, here's the line. So you set up your y equals blank x plus blank and then mb. Now remember what m and b stand for. M is the slope, b is the y-intercept. Now it seems to me if I see a graph, the y-intercept's the easiest to find first. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So positive 5 is your b. Now remember what slope is. If I see a line, it's the rise over the run. It's a ratio. So what I need to do is find, this is going to be point number 1. Now I move forward, not backwards, and find point number 2. Right there, that would be good. Point number 2. Okay, so the rise. Start at point 1. You go down 1 and you're right across from it. So negative 1 is your rise. Now the run, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now on that multiplication table, 1 and 4 would only be in row number 1. So you can divide it by 1, that's fine, but it's still negative 1/4. And there's your equation. Okay, number 4. Y equals blank x plus blank. So again, same thing, slope, y-intercept. So this, again, the y-intercept's the easiest to locate on from a graph first. It's right there, and that's -1, -2. Okay, then that's going to be point number 1. Now let's get point number 2 is always forward from point number 1. Okay, so I think right there is the first place it crosses dead on a grid. Okay, so rise over run. So from point 1 to point 2, you start at point 1. That's why I label it point 1, point 2. Up 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so +4 is the rise, and then the run is 1. Now if you look up 4 and 1 on a multiplication table, they're only in the first row, so you can divide them by 1, but guess what? They would just stay the same. So it'd be 4 over 1. Now if you just put 4, if there's a 1 under it, that's fine, but I'll give you the benefit of the doubt either way. Okay. Number 5. A car is 200 miles from its destination after 1 hour and 80 miles from its destination after 3 hours. Find the rate of change of the situation. Now, it says a table helps. So let's make a table, an XY table, and we're talking miles and hours. Okay? So hours is X because it's time, miles is Y. Now don't do the 0, 1, 2 because you don't have the per. Okay, that 0, 1, 2 is what I do on the table if I have per. If I don't have per, I just put 200 with miles with 1 hour, and then I go put 80 miles with 3 hours. Then to find the miles per hour, I simply find the change in Y over the change in X, or you could also go Y minus Y, X minus X. We'll get the job done. Okay, you can do it like one of two ways, like this. So I would start, again, these are my two. I'd start with the higher X, 3 on bottom, 80 to the top, then 1 on bottom, 200 to the top. So it's going to be -120 over 2, and divide, you get -60. Now with the 80 and the 200 were your miles, so miles, and the 3 and the 1 were your hours, so hours. That's one way, okay? Another way you can do is just take 80 minus 200 and 3 minus 1, okay? But anyway, that's your rate of change. Okay, write an equation with the following information. Okay, number 6, slope is -2, the y-intercept is 6. So I'm writing the equation without seeing the graph. Y equals blank x plus blank, so m and b. So m is your slope, and b is your y-intercept. So the slope is -2, and the y-intercept is going to be 6. Okay, and that's the end of the problem. Okay, number 7. The slope is -5, and then they give us a solution of -4, 7. Okay, same idea, y equals blank x plus blank, so mb. So m is your slope, b is your y-intercept. Okay, so the slope in this next one is -5. But I don't have my y-intercept, so it's y equals m times x plus b. So circle your b, your m is -5. For your y-x combination, you go 7 for y, and then times -4 for x. So we have 7. When you write plus, put the b first. -5 times -4 is 20, so I don't have to worry about that one dot crap. I know I just minus the 20, then 7 minus 20 is -13. So b, -13 equals b. you have it. Okay. Number 8. Just a second. Okay. Never mind. Yeah, just give me 1 second here. Yeah, I'll explain what was going on there. Herbson has to watch his parents' cats because they're somewhere. So that was a little ridiculous. So I put them. One of them's pretty chill. That other one's can't stand him. I don't really like cats to begin with, but you know, got to do what you can to help the family out. Okay, solutions. -2, 8. -6, 0. Okay. Okay. Y equals blank x plus blank. Can't believe that's on camera. Okay. So slope y ant. This time they didn't even tell us the slope. They just gave me 2 of the solutions. So that's like having 2 points on a line, like a 0.1, a 0.2. Okay, you just don't see the graph, so you have to do y minus y. This is like drawing that triangle. Okay, that's what I'm evaluating here. So if I compare -2, -6, -2 is higher, so I would go 8 on top, -2 on bottom. Okay, and then 0 on top, -6 on bottom. So 8 minus 0 is 8. 0 is never positive or negative, you just have 8. 2 is negative and 6 is positive, and that makes 4 when you add -2 to 6, and that equals 2. So slope's 2. Then y equals m times x plus b. Okay, so m is 2. Pick one of the two. Don't pick the 0. I would go with the 8, -2. 0 throws people off. 8 for y, -2 for x. So I've got 8 plus, put your b first. You can put that b first in the plus problem. 2 times -2 is -4. So now I don't have to put the dot in front of the b. I know it's a -4 that's being added. I just need to add 4 to get it away from there. So 12 equals b. Okay, there you have it. All right, story problems. Class charges a $50 registration fee. Students are then charged $25 per class taken. Find the cost of 5 classes. So we have dollars in classes. Now remember, x can't be, there's no time, but x can't be money, so it'd have to be classes. Y is money. So dollars per class. Okay, dollars per class can be 25. 25 times x. Then make your table before you draw your line graph. So y is money. X is classes. Now, since I know the dollars per class, now I do the 0, 1, 2. Okay. Okay, now before 25 we had 50, so it starts at 50, and then I add 25 every time there's a new class. So $75, add 25, $100, and so on. I'm coming back to the table in a moment. So the line equals y. Okay, so the first number we added was 50, and then we kept adding $25 multiple times. So x, the multiple is by how many classes are up. Okay, so we have 50 plus 25 times x equals y. Okay, now 5 classes. Remember, x is 5. Okay, now look at your x. Well, you got a dot with it, so you probably need to put 5 there. Okay, so 50 plus 25 times 5 equals y. So now that leaves me with y. Y is all by itself, so guess what I can do? I can just calculate the answer. Calc. So So 50 plus 25 times 5, 175. Okay, so there's your answer, $175. Makes perfect sense when you go through that table. Okay, last problem, number 10. When I get my bike repaired, I'm charged $150 for the part. I'm also charged $15 per hour for labor. If I'm charged $202.50, how many hours did it take to repair my car? Okay, so we have dollars and hours. Hours is X, dollars is Y. So dollars per hour. Okay, 15 times X. Now, since I know my dollars per hour, I then go Y is money, X is hours, and since I know the number that occurs over and over, I can go 0, 1, 2, block. Okay, so before the $15 per hour even happens, you pay $150 for the part. Then when we start counting the hours, we add 15. So 165, add 15, 180, okay? Now $202.50, well that belongs here. Whoops, I gotta make my line, write the equation before I worry about that. Okay, so we had 150 to start with, then I started adding 15 multiple times. The multiple matches up by how many hours there are. So 150 plus 15 times X equals Y. And again, $202.50. Well, it obviously goes in the Y column, so now I put it in for Y. Okay, since Y is not multiplied, there's no dot with it, just put it over the Y. Okay, you don't need a parentheses, so your new equation will be 150 plus 15 times X equals 202.50. Okay, on the last problem you had Y you had to solve for, and it was by itself, so you just did the calculation. Now X is over here, you have to solve for that, but X is not by itself, so dot minus 150. Okay, 202.50 minus 150 is 52.5. And divide by 15. We're going to have ourselves our answer. 3.5. You can have 3.5 hours. That's good. Okay. Okay, now a little pointer. So here's what we've done in this little review. Okay. Graphing lines. Remember, make sure the Y is by itself, okay? Then you got your slope y-intercept. The Y ain't by itself. First off, you make sure that it's positive. Then you got to switch signs, and then you add or subtract the X. Remember to line up the X before the number without the X and divide. If it's a decimal, you don't leave it because that's your slope. Okay. Writing the equation, y equals blank x plus blank, okay? Point 1, point 2 is forward. Point 1, point 2 is forward. Point 1 is your y-intercept. Point 2, that's your rise over your run. Remember to make sure it's in reduced form. I put a multiplication table there to help you. Okay, number 5, I'm a little worried about. When you find the rate of change, okay, and it said a table will help. Make an XY table with your hours and miles, okay? And then you simply apply Y minus Y, X minus X. That's all that is, okay? Don't overcomplicate it. Okay, XY, XY, start with your higher X, so 380 over 3, minus, and then 200 over 1. Remember to include a label, okay? These numbers, the top numbers was your miles, bottom number was hours. Okay, don't overcomplicate that.